Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is NB12 for Thursday, October 11th, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, a disturbance at the detention center prevents visitors from seeing their loved ones. A foreign energy company against the privatization of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation, the state-recognized funeral of former Senate Vice President and Member of Parliament Bruce Brainin, and how the Bahamas should develop human capital. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your NB12 starts right now. Joining us. The Carmichael Road Detention Center was placed on lockdown this morning after officials say there was a disturbance among detainees. The move prompted angry responses from visitors who were not allowed to drop off food and care packages to their friends and relatives. Jasmine Bonamy was there and filed this report.
A disturbance at the detention center had some visitors riled up as they claimed they were not allowed to give food to some of their relatives inside. When our news team arrived on the scene shortly after 11 this morning, armed Defense Force officers could be seen gathered on the compound. Outside were visitors holding packages of food, unable to hand them over to the detainees. One by one, the visitors were turned away from the large metal gates that were chained and locked. While some left after being turned away, others decided to wait around, hoping they'd be allowed to leave their food for relatives. Adelaide Pierre said she arrived shortly after 10 a.m. and was told the center was on lockdown after a fight between an officer and a detainee on the compound.
You tell me today that keep a fight inside police officer. Big fight. I ain't see that. You tell me, because I reach 11, after 11, people tell me, big fight, yeah, keep a fight.
Our news team spoke to an officer manning the gate of the compound this morning who would only say there was an accusation of something being stolen. He would not say what transpired after. The officer also said food drop-offs were stopped because they had missed their visiting hours of 10 to 12 p.m. However, when our news team was at the scene, we witnessed several people being turned away before 12. Meantime, Director of Immigration Jack Thompson called this morning's incident a minor disturbance, but visitors like Pierre and others we spoke to off camera say they were worried about their relatives and plan to return to the center every day until they're allowed to bring food.
I feel because I don't know Monday I could reach again, I could find them. I feel bad, you know, because no money. Some people, he got 2 cases on me, pum feel him. Little cats go to Nevel school, 2 girls. One's 5 years, one 6. Why? I don't mean to bring him water bag, juice bag, that make no sense. I won't go, I can't rest here because if I ain't do nothing, I can't rest here long, yeah? Because I don't know, I ain't do nothing. If people won't take him photo, I look at just like people try call, I can leave later, little while.
Thompson says the Immigration Department will be looking into the matter. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
Following the controversial privatization of the Bahamas Telecommunications Company last year, there was some speculation that the Bahamas Electricity Corporation would be next. A team from Genting Energy is in the Bahamas this week meeting with government officials to discuss ways to reduce electricity costs. Officials presented a preliminary report to Prime Minister Perry Christie, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis, and BEC executives urging the government not to privatize BEC at this time. Vonique Toot reports.
While there has been some talk about the possible privatization of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation, officials say don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Representatives from Genting Energy met with government leaders at the office of the Prime Minister this morning to discuss ways to reduce the cost of electricity. Prime Minister Perry Christie says one of the things that was ruled out is the privatization of BEC. Here's what Genting recommended instead.
That we consider having a private sector entity generate the electricity at significantly cheaper costs, selling that to BEC, and BEC being responsible for generating, for this distribution, I beg your pardon.
Mr. Christie says this is the case in China, Indonesia, and India, which have generating plans. Genting Energy is a division of the Genting Group, which is considered to be one of Malaysia's leading multinational corporations. CEO of Genting Energy, T.S. Ong, says he would not suggest privatizing BEC for at least another 20 years because our population is rather small.
The grid is rather small, and also the the demand may not be suitable for that. So for economy of scale purposes, we are recommending that the BEC continue to function, as an entity, and then we will recommend only that the privatization of power generation is all based on economy of scale. Maybe 20 years later, it could be a different issue. We could go a step further. So,
Resorts World Genting partnered with RAV Bahamas Limited this year to build a $24 million luxury boutique casino in Bimini. The Prime Minister says foreign investors have complained that electricity bills make up 30% of their operating cost. The Genting Corporation's chairman offered to conduct a 3-month study in the Bahamas at no cost to the Bahamian government. After that study, Genting's 12-member team would make recommendations on how to reduce the cost of electricity in the Bahamas by at least 1/3. He says this not only benefits Genting's investment in Bimini but other islands.
Given the fact that they are now significant investors, in fact, one has to say substantial investors in Bimini, with great plans for Bimini and great immediate plans for Bimini to open a casino by March of next year, and renovations are going on now, that they should come up with a model for the generation of electricity for small island destinations that we have here in the Bahamas.
While that report will not be submitted for another 3 months, Genting officials are confident that they will be able to significantly reduce electricity costs. Reporting for NB12, I'm Wanik Toot.
During this morning's news conference, the Prime Minister hinted that the Genting Group might be interested in oil exploration in the Bahamas. He noted that Genting Energy's Chief Executive Officer, T.S. Ong, is also a significant player in the corporation's oil division and has an extremely high success rate in this area.
Discussions, Mr. Ong indicated that, and his chairman indicated, he had 100% success rate in identifying places where there is oil of a sustainable nature. And I can tell you that the Bahamas has not escaped their attention.
Ong says one of the first steps would be determining if the Bahamas has organic rich sediments called source rocks.
I think the prospect of oil in Bahamas, it's interesting to say the least. You have structures. The issue is whether you have source rock. So we are therefore quite interested to find the source rock, and if we can find the source rock, or in the oil industry they refer it as a kitchen. If we find a kitchen to charge up the structures, then I think you would have oil discovery here.
Prime Minister Christie has said that any drilling in the Bahamas is subject to the outcome of a referendum. Bahamas Petroleum Company, which is an oil and gas exploration company, owns 100% interest in the offshore licenses exclusively focused on the Bahamas. However, BEC Chairman Leslie Miller feels the company does not have a proven track record. Government sent the company a letter last month confirming that it has complied with the terms of its oil exploration licenses. Well, just as the holiday weekend kicks off, forecasters at the National Hurricane Center today upgraded a system to the east-northeast of the central Bahamas to Tropical Depression 16. However, according to local forecasters, the depression does not pose an immediate or direct threat to land. Duty forecaster Ian McKenzie tells NB12 that the tropical depression has been in the area for the past 7 days, but a pickup in wind speeds called for the upgrade to tropical depression status today. McKenzie says the system, coupled with a high-pressure system north of the Bahamas, is causing breezy and windy conditions along the northwest and central Bahamas through Sunday. However, he says the system is expected to dissipate within the next 24 to 36 hours. Residents should continue to monitor the progress of the depression throughout the holiday weekend.